ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितेन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकदामह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथं वितन्तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपदां सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमस्ते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम राम राम। Hare Krishna, so welcome all the devotees back.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
So how many verses we covered last time?
25.
23. Yes, so we'll recite from verse 21 onwards. Please repeat after me. Arjuna Uvacha Senayorubhayormadhe Ratam Sthapayamyachyuta Yavadetan Niriksheham Yodhu Kaman Avasthitan Vairmaya Sahayodhavyam Asmin Ranasamudyame Yotsamanan Aveksheham Ye ete atra samagata Bhatarashtrasya durbuddhe Yuddhe priya chikirshavaha Sanjay uvacha Evam mukto rishikesho Gudakeshena bharata Senayorubhayormadhe Sthapayitva rathottamam Bhishmadrona pramukhatah Sarveshanta Ikshitam Vachapata Shaitan Samavetan Kuruniti Tatra Pashyat Sthitan Partha
तत्र पश्चित्स्थितान् पार्थ
Acharyan Matulan Bhatrun Putran Potran Sakhins Tata Swashuran Surdhaschaiva Senurubhayorapi Tan Samikshya Sakonteya Sarvan Bandhun Avasthitan Kripaya Paraya Vishtaha Vishidan Idam Abbravi Arjuna Uvacha Dristvemam Swajanam Krishna Yuyutsum Samupasthitam Siddhanti Mama Gatrani Mukham Cha Parishushati Veputescha Sharire Me Romahar हर्षश्च जायते हस्तां त्वक्चैव परिदह्यते न च शक्नोमि अवस्थातुं रमत्यैव च मे मनः निमित्तानि च पश्यामि विपरीतानि केशव न च श्रेयोऽनुपश्यामि अथवा सज्जनमाहवे न काङ्क्षे विजयं कृष्ण न च राज्यं सुखानि च किं नो राज्येन गोविन्द किं भोगे जीवितेन वा येषामर्थे काङ्क्षितं राज्यं राज्यं भोगा सुखानि च तेमेव स्थिता युद्धे प्राणाः त्यक्ता धनानि च आचार्य पितरः पुत्रान् तथा एव च पितामहाः मातुलाः स्वशुरा पौत्राः शाला सम्बन्धिनस्तथा एतान् हन्तुमिच्छामि न त अपि मधुसूदन अपि त्रैलोक्य राज्यस्य हेतु किं नु मही कृते निहत्य धार्तराष्ट्रान् का प्रीति सा जनार्दन आपमेवाश्रयेदस्मान् अत्वा एतान् आततायिनः तस्मात् न अर्हा वयं हन्तुम् आतराष्ट्रान् स्वबान्धवान् स्वजनं हि कथं हत्वा सुखिनः स्याम माधव यदि अपि एतेन पश्यन्ति लोभ उपहत चेतसः कुलक्षये कृतं दोषम् मित्रदोहे च पातकम् कथं न गेयमस्माभिः पापात् अस्मान् निवर्तितुम् कुलक्षये कृतं दोषं प्रपश्य दिवि जनार्दन कुलक्षये प्रणश्यन्ति कुलधर्मा सनातनः धर्मे नष्टे कुलं कृष्णम् अधर्मो अभिभव्युत्तः अधर्म अभिभवात् कृष्ण प्रदुष्यन्ति कुलस्त्रियः स्त्रीषु दृष्टाशु वार्ष्णेया जायते वर्णशङ्करः शङ्करो नरकायैव कुलघ्नानां कुलस्य च वदन्ति पितरो येषां लुप्तपिण्डोदकक्रियः दोषैरेतै कुलघ्नानां वर्णशङ्करकारके स्यादन्ते जातिधर्मः कुलधर्मा च शाश्वतः उत्सन् कुलधर्माणां मनुष्याणां जनार्दन नरके अनियतं वासः भवतीति अनुशुश्रुमा अहो बत महत्पापम् कर्तुं व्यवसिता वयम् यत् राज्यसुखलोभेन हन्तुं स्वजनमुद्यतः यदि माम् अप्रतीकारम् अशस्त्रं शस्त्रप्राणयः आतराष्ट्रहरणे हन्यो तत्मे क्षेमतरं भवेत् संजय उवाच एवमुक्त्वा अर्जुन संख्ये रथोपस्थौ उपविशत् विसृज्य सशरं चापं शोकसंविघ्नमानसः हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. So this Bhagavad Gita was spoken in the midst of the battlefield between both the parties, wherein one side had 11 Akshawanis, another side had 7 Akshawanis. Total around 64 crores of people, soldiers assembled, which got wiped out after the Mahabharata war. And it was in the morning time, just before the sun was about to arise. So both the party, they have arranged their military talents, and at that time, Arjuna, or that was the time when in Kurukshetra, not in Kurukshetra, 10 days after this Kurukshetra war, Sanjay happens to meet the Dhritarashtra. Why he went there after 10 days? He went in there, he did also. He told him,
Prabhuji, your voice is not clear. Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhu. Your voice is
Hare,
not clear.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Voice is not
Yes,
clear,
Maya.
Prabhuji. Voice is not clear. Very
Voice
low.
is not clear.
Very low also.
Okay. Either you come or I'll come to your home. Yeah, let us put the mic. Hopefully that would solve the problem. Bring it closer. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Just see whether it's put. Hare Rama. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Put see the wire end is there inside. First see the wire connection. Yeah, turn on all the buttons. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna.
It is working. It's just low now.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
No, stopped again. Stopped again.
Huh? Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare
Now it's okay. Seems to be okay, Prabhuji.
Prabhuji, there is no voice. Very minimal. There is no voice coming right now.
Yes, Prabhu.
You should
Very
use
minimal.
some mic which should be connected with laptop. Rather the indirect voice coming from the laptop to the Zoom.
Krishna.
No voice at all.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama.
Uh,
Okay, everybody.
it's intermittent, Prabhuji. कभी आ रहा है, कभी नहीं आ रहा है.
अनुप्रसाद जी आप म्यूट कीजिए ना, आपका बैकग्राउंड म्यूट.
Is it clear? Hare Krishna, can you hear me now? Okay. Hare Krishna. Very text of Vishnu Pitamaha laid down on the bed of arrows pierced by Arjuna. So then at that time, Sanjay was asked this question by Tirtha. Dharma Kshetre, Kurukshetre, Samaveta, Nivitsa. And then he says, Sanjay says that your son, who is the king, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Okay. So what did the sons of Pandava and my sons did? They do. And then Sanjay says that your son went to the Dronacharya and told him about the enrichment done by the Pandavas army. And this army, who had the military commander, who was trained personally by Dronacharya, who is the son of your enemy, Drupada. So in that way, diplomatically, he's trying to tell him that please be careful next time. Don't be little loose, because earlier you taught him, but now you see this is the burden that we have got. So now don't be loose in your fighting spirit, because he can understand that he had some soft corners towards the Pandavas. In that way, diplomatically, he's addressing him. And then he tells him about the armies or the people or the generals who have gathered from the side of the Pandavas. And they are equal in fighting spirit as the Bhim and Arjuna. After counting the names of the soldiers or the generals on the side of the Pandava, then he counts about the generals on their side. He mentions few names, but not as many names as he mentioned about the Pandavas army. So, hearing this, Bhishma Pitama, he blew a conch, Simhanadam Vinodmuche. And once this conch was born, what was done, from the Pandava side also, they also blew the conch.
हरे कृष्णा प्रभु जी पॉज हो गया पूरा.
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु. हरि बोल.
Not hearing you, Prabhuji.
हरे कृष्णा.
Can someone call? Let them know, but there's no video also.
So this verse mentions about the reason why the victory is awaiting Arjuna, because there was a great chariot which was donated by the Agni Dev. It can conquer any place or the site where it visits. And then the conch shell itself. So the conch shell is always a sign. Split is connected with Vishnu. Whenever the Krishna is giving darshan, first we blow what? Conch shell. Sounding of conch shell itself denotes there's a sign of victory for Pandavas. And then wherever there is Krishna, what is the fortune is there. So fortune is awaiting. Then what happened? 15th verse mentions about Panchajanya Rishikesho Devadatta Dhananjaya Paundram Dadvo Mahashankam Bhima Karma Vikodara. So then Rishikesho, in the next verse, Krishna is mentioned as Rishikesho. And his conchal was named as Panchajanya Rishikesho. Devadattam Dhananjaya. Arjuna is denoted here by Dhananjaya. Why? Because he once got the Dhana for Yudhishthira Maharaj. When the battlefield was over, Yudhishthira Maharaj was lamenting. He thought that it's all because of me. Because he wanted the kingdom we fought. And 64 crores of people died. Imagine 64 crores. Who were they? Mostly men. Only men. What happened to their wives, their mothers, their daughters? How much damage it has caused? Where they would go? Who will take care of them? Not audible now. Okay. To do. Before it was better. Before the mobile phone was different. Now the phone is different. Any other phone should we try?
No, now the voice
Now
is
it's
okay.
better, Prabhuji.
Now it's better. Better. Don't dance. I'll put on Wi-Fi.
Yeah, it is.
Kindly don't touch.
Now
It's working
Huh.
now.
Yeah.
Better. Okay. Now it's okay. Is that okay now?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhuji.
So here, so Dhananjay, so Yudhishthira Maharaj, he thought that he's responsible. So see, the leader is one who takes the responsibility of anything that happens. So that is the quality of a leader. So Yudhishthira Maharaj, being a gentle leader, he thought that he's responsible. So he thought what should be done. So he thought let the yajna be performed. So for that yajna, he wanted a lot of money is required to do anything in yajna. You have to donate so much things. And in a very celebratory way, you have to perform the yajna. So he sent all his 4 brothers in different directions. So Arjuna got a lot of wealth. Therefore, his name is Dhananjaya. Here, Krishna's name is mentioned. Prabhupada says that Lord Krishna is referred to as Rishikesh in this verse. Why? Because he is the owner of the senses. Rishika Naam Isha. Rishik means senses. And the Ishwar of that, the controller of senses. So he is controlling the senses of Arjuna. That means he is directing the senses of Arjuna. So then where is the
Hare
loss?
Krishna.
Yes, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Yes, Mataji. Tell me.
Prabhuji, we can't hear anything.
Okay, others?
Yes, we can hear properly.
No, we are here. We
Yes,
can hear
Ravi, we
Prabhuji.
can hear. We
Maharaj,
can
we
hear.
can hear.
Yeah, so
We can
Mataji,
hear
others
properly.
can hear. Can you please check your network? So Lord Krishna is referred to as Rishikesh. So he is directing the senses of Arjuna. So he is directing himself. So the victory is bound to be there. Now here Prabhupada mentions that Lord has different names according to the different activities. For example, his name is Madhusudana because he killed the demon named Madhu. His name is Govinda because he gives pleasure to the cows and the senses. Go means cows, go also means senses. So Govinda, Vindati, one who controls, one who gives pleasure, Ananda. So therefore Govinda. He is Vasudev because he appeared as a son of Vasudev. Vasudev, son of Vasudev. And his name is Devaki Nandan because he accepted Devaki as his mother. His name is Yashodanandan because he awarded his childhood pastimes to Yashoda at Vrindavan. And his name is Parthasarthi because he worked as a charioteer for his friend Arjuna. Similarly, his name is Rishikesh because he gave direction to Arjuna on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Now, the conch shell borne by the different personalities on the side of Pandavas, beginning by the lords, were all very encouraging to the fighting soldiers. On the other hand, there were no such credits, not the presence of Lord Krishna, the Supreme Director, nor that of Goddess of Fortune. So they were predestined to lose the battle. And that was the message announced by the sounds of the conch shell. So what is the message that is announced by the sounds of conch shell? Isn't it? Is given here. Then the conch shells blown by the other Pandavas are mentioned. And what happened when the conch shells were blown by the Pandavas? Verse 19 says, when Bhishma and others on the side of Duryodhan blew their conch shells, there was no heartbreaking on the part of Pandavas. Such occurrences are not mentioned. But in this particular verse, it is mentioned that the hearts of the sons of Dhritarashtra were shattered by the sounds vibrated by the Pandavas party. This is due to the Pandavas and their confidence in Lord Krishna. One who takes shelter of the Supreme Lord has nothing to fear even in the midst of the greatest calamity. You know, if you attack a cat, what will cat do? Defend? Really? It will just go and disturb the cat. What will cat do? Run away. Will it come against you? Some cats. General, we are talking. Cats will not, right? They'll run away. Now you close the door. Cat will still run away. The corner, right? Now you go there. Know where the cat has to go. Then what will the cat do? Mention the cat. Because he has nothing to lose. All sides are gone. It's nothing, like person who is like about to die knows that nothing to lose now. I have to just attack. Isn't it? Such people are very dangerous. So similarly, when devotees, they know there is nothing to lose. I'm a spirit soul, nothing to lose. The soul will not die. Right? That confidence they have. And the confidence that their duty now is to fight. They have done their part of running away in the sense, trying to avoid the war. War is generally to be avoided, right? Because unnecessary spending time in war takes away the time, energy, isn't it? So they try their best to avoid the war. But when all the doors are closed, there is no other option left. Then what? And then there's nothing. Just all out. So then such kind of spirit was seen in the Pandavas. Because they had on their side Krishna. It was not like they're fearful. They were already had guts and they were confident. And on the top, they had a side of, so their confidence was seen in their face, in their spirit. And therefore, this verse mentions that Saghosho Dhatarashranam Hridyani Vadare. They were shattered by the flow of their conscience and the spirit, which was not mentioned when it was spoken about the conch shell blown by Kauravas. Then, Atha Vyavastithan Drishtva Dhatarashtan Kapi Dvajaha. At that time, Arjuna, the son of Pandu, seated in a chariot bearing the flag marked with Hanuman, took up his bow and prepared to shoot his arrow. See how confident he took up his bow to shoot up the arrow. And where he was seated, Kapit Dvajaha, his chariot had what? Flag of Hanuman. So you see, earlier in the battlefield when Lord Ram was there, on his side there was Hanuman. And who won? Right? So now with the help of Hanuman, Lord Ram won. Now he had on his chariot both the personalities. Hanuman on the flag and also Lord Ram, who is nothing but Krishna. Both are there. So the victory is guaranteed. Right? Prabhupada writes, the emblem of Hanuman on the flag of Arjuna is another sign of victory. Another sign. That means previously we have spoken about other signs. Signs, right? Because Hanuman cooperated with Lord Ram in the battlefield between Ram and Ravana. The Lord Ram emerged victorious. Now both Ram and Hanuman were present on the chariot of Arjuna to help him. Lord Krishna is Ram himself, and wherever Lord is, his eternal servitor Hanuman and his eternal consort Sita, the goddess of fortune, are present. Therefore, Arjuna has no cause to fear any enemies whatsoever. Then 21st and 22nd verse says, Senayor bhyor matte stapame ratam stapyame achyuta yavadeta niriksham yoddu kama navastita kairmaya sa yoddhavyam asmin rana samudyame. Place my chariot in the midst of both the army as long as I see them who all have gathered to fight against me. Right? Before you want to fight, you need to see who all are there. Take andaj, some analysis, who all have come. He knew, but still he wanted to see gaze who all are there. Last para mentions of this verse. As a pure devotee of Lord, Arjuna had no desire to fight with his cousins and brothers. Devotee unnecessarily don't want to get into war, right? But he was forced to come into the battlefield by the obstinacy of Duryodhana, who was never agreeable to any peaceful negotiation. Right? Some people in the negotiation table, they are loud. I want this, I want this. They are generally not that powerful. Powerful are the people who have decided what they want. Who are decided. I will not leave the battlefield unless the result I get. Like Krishna, he was very clear. What does he want? What does Krishna want? Why Pandava? Dharma. It's not Pandava. Dharma. Right? Nor Bhishma, nor Pandava, nor nothing. He wants Dharma. Whoever on the side of Dharma, he will be saved. Whoever on the side of Dharma, he will be gone. Let it be the pure devotional devotee like Bhishma. Nothing. Dharma means Dharma. Krishna is very clear. Others may negotiate. Okay, this, that. But Krishna is very clear. He will not budge little. That person's voice matters a lot. If he says, okay, I stop, then he stops. Just like now the war is going. Between whom? Iran, Israel, US. Who is in the news saying that I will stop the war will end. They are gone, almost defeated. They have nothing left. Who is shouting? Shouting. On the other side, who is also bombarding and doing all the things and telling, I will negotiate, but my conditions are this. Iran. Whose voice is not heard. But it's very clear what he wants. Nobody speaks about, right? But he's a third person who is very clear. His voice is not heard. But he's very clear what he wants. If he says war is over, then something can be vouched for. I'm just giving the parallels. Right? Others may say, oh, war will end soon. But who are you to speak? The person who is sitting is very clear unless until he says no time limit. Till necessity is done, this will go on. Very clear. Okay, unless that person or that country or a person attains that objective, it will go on. So point is Krishna is very clear. So now Arjuna is gazing who all are there. And then he sees, let me see who all have come here to support the evil-minded Duryodhana. And then Sanjay says, Evam Mukta Rishikesho Buddha Keshana Bharata Senayor Ubhayor Madhye Stapavita Rathottama. Krishna placed the chariot in the midst. He's Rishikesha, he knows everything. Right? He places his chariot in such a place. So here Gudakesha means Gudaka means sleep. Isha means controller. Right? One who has conquered his sleep. So Arjuna has conquered his See, therefore he is known as Gudakesha. Now, Bhishma Drona Pramukatah Sarvesham Cha Mahikshita Uvacha Partha Pashaitam Samavetan Kuruniti. Uvacha Partha. Partha said, what? Pashaitam Kurunti. Just see the Kurus. Who says this? Sanjay says. This verse is not spoken by Krishna. Is there any verse in the first chapter spoken by Krishna? No. But what Krishna says is spoken by whom? Arjuna says, Krishna said, Vacha, Partha Pashaitan Puritin. Just see. Then verse 26. What did he see? Tatra Pashya Sthitan Patra Pitru Atha Pitamahan Acharya Matulan Bhatran Potran Pautran Sakinstata. He saw everybody there. And then Tan Samiksha Kaunseya Sarvan Bandhun Avasthitan Kripaya Paraya Visto Vishidam Idam Abravit. So now Krishna is, when Krishna placed the chariot, Arjuna saw all his relatives, family members. Seeing that, what happened to Arjuna? Tan Samiksha Kaunteya Sarvan Bandhun Avasthitan. Avasthitan means they are situated there, all the bandhus. Kripaya Paraya Visto. High degree, Paraya, Para. A great degree of kripaya, compassion. He became overwhelmed with compassion. Vishidam idam abravit. And he spoke thus. Arjuna uvacha drishtve mam swajanam Krishna yuyutsum samupasthitam sidanti mama gatrani mukham cha parishushati. Drishtve mam swajanam. Drishtve, seeing mam swajanam, my own. Krishna, hey Krishna, yuyutsitam samupastitam, situated, present in the fighting spirit. What happened? Sidanti mama gatrani. Sidanti, quivering or weakening. Sidanti means quivering or weakening. Mama gatrani. What is gatra? Means the limbs of the body. So my limbs of the body are becoming what? Quivering or weakening. Mukham cha parishushati. Mouth also drying up. So two signs of the body and the mind. So bodies are weakening. And then mouth is dry. Dry from what? Parishushati. From all the sides. See, parishushati. Pari means from all the sides. Means outside also and inside also. Any man who has a genuine devotion to the Lord has all the good qualities which are found in the godly persons or in the demigod. Whereas the non-devotees, however advanced he may be in the material qualification by education and culture, lacks in the godly qualities. As such, Arjuna, just after seeing his kinsmen, friends and relatives on the battlefield, was at once overwhelmed by the compassion for them, who had so decided to fight amongst themselves. As far as his soldiers were concerned, he was sympathetic from the beginning, but he felt compassion even for the soldiers of the opposite party, foreseeing their imminent death. So see what happened when Arjuna saw everybody filled with compassion. Right? Naturally, he had compassion for his people, but now he had compassion for other people also, because they have to be killed. That means he's confident that I have to kill all this. These people are going to lose their lives. He became compassionate for them. And that is Prabhupada taking the mode. Arjuna's mode, that Arjuna is so compassionate. That is the nature of the devotees. Naturally, they are compassionate. And while he was so thinking, the limbs of his body began to quiver and his mouth became dry. He was more or less astonished to see the fighting spirit. Practically, the whole community, the blood relatives had come to fight with him. This overwhelmed the kind devotees like Arjuna. Although it was not mentioned here, still one can imagine that not only where Arjuna's body quivering, his mouth drying up, but he was also crying out of compassion. Such symptom in Arjuna was not due to the weakness, but due to his soft-heartedness, a characteristics of a pure devotee of Lord. Was that a weakness? No. Why? Because he went to see who are there. He took up his Gandhi bow, right? He was ready to fight. But then when he saw other party, he said, oh my God, I have to kill them. So poor, these people. I have to kill them. So that compassion is not because of the weakness, but due to soft-heartedness, right? So Krishna quotes, Prabhupada quotes this verse from Bhagavatam 5th canto. Yasyati bhakti bhagavati akinchana sarvair gunes tatra samasate suraha harav abhaktasya kuto mahadguna mano rathena asati dhavato bahi. One who has unflinching devotion for the personality of Godhead has all the good qualities of the demigod. But one who is not a devotee of a Lord has only material qualifications that are of little value. So those who are devotees, they have all good qualities of demigods. But one who is not a devotee of a Lord has only material qualifications that are of little value. This is because he is hovering on the mental plane and is certain to be attracted by the glaring material energy. But sometimes we see devotees harshly speaking, behavior not good. Have you observed? Huh? Have you observed devotees speaking harshly, not having a good behavior? Whereas the outsider non-devotee is so polite, so polished. Excuse me, can I get a space, please? And a devotee, अरे हटना कितने समय बीच में आ रहे सेवा का टाइम हो गया एक तो हरे कृष्णा हरे कृष्णा. I observed, na? But there are some polished people, gently they talk. But what Krishna is telling, one who has unflinching devotion for the Supreme Personality of Godhead has all the good qualities of a demigod. So it is not that it's okay if you are devotees and having a bad behavior, it's okay. It's not like that. Devotee means, Prabhupada said, how do you know that? How do you recognize a devotee? You are devotees. What did Prabhupada reply? They are a perfect gentleman. They are a perfect gentleman. So therefore, if one is really a devotee of Krishna, all good qualities will naturally come. But one who is not a devotee of Lord has only material qualification. One is not a devotee, they have material qualification. So that qualification, which may be polished, polite, is what? Is material. It's not spiritual. It's material. And it are of little value. To whom? The devotees. If you find next time some devotee harshly speaking and all these things, don't think that is okay. Right? Some limitation is there. Some conditioning is there. Right? So just the time is separating, right? He will acquire that. Because this verse says, Yasyasti bhakti tatra samasate suraha. If bhakti is there, that means what? He is chanting, right? So devotional service he is accepting. He is working. Just time will manifest those qualities. But on the other hand, if some non-devotee is there and he has that material quality of politeness, gentleness, what is the views? What is the value? Devotee don't give that value to them. Right? Because taking to Krishna consciousness, that is the most important. There's a value in that gentleness, but without Krishna consciousness, it's all zero. But we have to be, as a devotee, we have to understand that if you don't have a good quality, then what will happen? People will not be attracted to Krishna consciousness, right? And we will become an obstacle to their taking up to Krishna consciousness because of our bad behavior. Because people who are coming new, for them, we represent what? Krishna consciousness. And they see one person and they generalize. They don't see everybody, they just see one person. They became angry Just one person, they become angry because how can they do like this? I will not come to ISKCON. These people are like this. ISKCON means all are like this. See, they don't have good quality. They generalize it. But when it comes to devotee, somebody says, hey, coupon nahi hai, prasad nahi milega. No, you came late and all. Sorry. Late ho gaya. Please दे दो. Hey, बोला ना. Any choice? No choice. Accepting, isn't it? Namra. All good qualities manifest. Right? Then, Veputeshta Sharire me Romaharshasya Jayate Gandivam Shasase Hastat Tvakcheva Paridayate. So now, the two symptoms I mentioned now, Veputeshta Sharire me. So the trembling of the body. First, the limbs of the bodies were mentioned. They were weakening, quivering. Now the whole body is trembling. Romaharshasya Jayate. The hairs are standing on the end. Gandivam Shastrate Hasta. Third symptom in this shloka. Gandiv Shastrate Hasta. From his hand falling down. Tvakchaiva Paridayate. Tvak, skin. Chaiva Paridayate. Is burning. Right? The skin is burning. 4 symptoms. Previously, 2 symptoms. Now, 4 more. In the 27th shloka, Lord desired. So, Vishidam idam abravit. So, in the 27th shloka, having described as afflicted with the lamentations, Arjuna in 28 and 29th verse expresses the same in his speaking. So, Vekudesha Sharim, there are 2 kinds of trembling of the body and the 2 kinds of standing of the hairs on the head. Such phenomena occur either in a great spiritual ecstasy or out of great fear under material conditions. Have you ever relished some dancing kirtan or some celebrations in bhakti, Krishna consciousness, where you kind of went all out, like out of the world experience? Ever felt like that experience? Huh? So there are 2 kinds of trembling of the body and the 2 kinds of standing of the hairs on the end. Such phenomena occur in the great spiritual ecstasy or out of great fear under material conditions. Both the times it is possible. You have seen people crying in agony, but you could also observe people crying in ecstasy. Right? What is the difference? To understand खुशी के आंसू और दुख के आंसू, सुना है ना? Huh? What is the difference? One tears are cold, one is hot. Right? One trembling of the body and standing of the hairs on the end makes one feel within the heart fully satisfied, and another fills one with insecurity and fearfulness. Right? So based on the condition of the person, one can understand whether this is spiritual or material. Suppose the person is so filled with happiness, jubilance, humility, and all these spiritual symptoms. If you kick him, what will he do? If you kick him, what will he do? He'll become angry? Because that does not match. Right? But if a person who is materially showing such symptom, if you kick him, what he will do? Become angry. Therefore, when sahajiyas means those who take the process simply, cheaply, sahaj, lete hai na jo, sahajiyas. When they try to exhibit such symptoms materially, showing it as a spiritual symptoms, Prabhupada says, kick on his face. Then we'll understand whether it is real or not real. We don't have to do that practically, but if somebody is showing that, because generally the spiritual symptoms are not being shown by the devotees. They always try to hide it. But the people there are in Vrindavan who kind of dresses themselves like Krishna and gopis, and they try to show and in front of all and dance and zoom in that way. That's doubtful. Prabhupada once, while giving lecture, he went in a trance. Tears started rolling from his eyes. Voice choked up. He could not speak. Tears started rolling from his eyes. He tried to cover up those symptoms. So devotee is not knowing what to do. Suddenly that stopped. The devotee did not know what to do. They asked Prabhupada, they knew that it's Prabhupada's symptom, ecstasy. What should we do? What did Prabhupada say? He said, it comes at times. It's okay. He just belittled that, like, it's badi baat. Kabhi kabhi ho jata. Huh? He's in ecstasy always, but what he did, he made it very little, like, so zyada bhav nahi diya. That shows that ecstasy is real. He said, it comes at times. Don't worry. But then the devotee said, what should we do when it happens? He said, just chant Hare Krishna. That's how Arjuna's symptom in this situation. Now, so what is this Arjuna's standing of the hairs on the end? Is this material or spiritual? What? Huh? Huh? Material. Why spiritual? Why material? Why spiritual?
So he has compassion.
Yes, compassion in the heart. What else?
Krishna has bewildered.
Krishna has bewildered. That is also true. Then compassion is there, but Krishna has bewildered him. So then
Arjuna has not detached himself from his relatives and gurus.
But how do you know he has not detached?
Because of which he is feeling, having these symptoms, and which Krishna later on has cleared it.
Krishna later on cleared, but now we are not clear. Later on it will be clear. Right now, through this symptom, how we can say that these symptoms are material, out of material thing, not spiritual thing. This symptom can happen out of spiritual and material both, right? How do we ensure that this symptom is out of material for the Arjuna?
Material out of fear of losing his kinsman.
After the fear of?
Losing his kinsman.
After fear of losing his kinsman, yes. Yeah. Because he's fearful of losing his kinsman. It's mentioned. See, Arjuna's symptom in this situation are out of material fear, namely loss of lives. This is evident. How it is evident? This is evident from other symptoms also. He became so impatient that his famous bow Gandiva was slipping from his hands. And because his heart was burning from within, he was feeling burning sensation of the skin. All these are due to the material conception of life. Like some devotee comes and says, no, that Prabhu, I'm chanting, my whole rounds are going well, I'm reading Bhagavad Gita and all. But थोड़ा सा डर लगता है, no? Job छूट जाएगा तो. Both are contrast, na? Means if one is taking full shelter of Krishna, understands that Krishna is there to take care, not my job. Where is the fear coming for? Losing the job. If it is written that this job is not for me or it will go away, what's the fear? Something else. Krishna will take care. Where is the fear then? See, somebody is really after spirituality is having the symptoms, then confidence will come out in all other activities. Isn't it? The confidence will come out. There's nothing to fear. What the max will happen in this life? What the max will happen? Job chut jayega. Body will go away. Disease will come. Death will come. What else? It's all material, no? Nothing to do. Yes. Maya, you are talking to us? You can mute the phone otherwise. So, Is this material symptom or spiritual for Arjuna? Of course, it's not yet mentioned. But the fourth line, it says that Gandiva Sasrate Hasta. From his hand, the Gandiva is going. Before this, the compassion was mentioned. See, in the previous verse, the compassion. See, then Kripaya Paraya Visto, Kripaya, the compassion, high degree of compassion came into Arjuna. That's because by nature devotees are soft-hearted. Right? That is because of the soft-heartedness, gentle nature of Arjuna. But here, when these symptoms are being presented, that the Sharire, his body is trembling, right? And then Gandiva is moving out, and then his mouth is becoming dry, and his skin is burning. So that shows that this is the symptom of due to material attachments. It's a material symptom. Why that will come to know? Because he has not spoken yet. He's just mentioning that this thing is happening. This is happening. Right? So doctor will see and analyze what else, what all symptoms. Right? We have heard in the class that Krishna made him like that. Right? Nacha shaknomi avasthatum pramati eva cha me manaha. First time. Then he is mentioning further. Nacha shaknomi avasthatum pramati eva cha me manaha nimittani cha pashyami viparitani keshava. Nacha shaknomi. शक्य नहीं हो रहा है. मराठी क्या? शक्य. शक्य. नच शक्नो. हाँ, शक्य नहीं हो. नस्ति. तो जो नच शक्नोमी अवस्था तुम मेरी अवस्था ऐसी नहीं. अवस्था मेरी अवस्था क्या है? नच शक्नोमी. I am not able to. अवस्था तुम to be situated, like to be situated properly. I am now unable to stand here any longer. Pramati eva cha me mana. So now from the body the mind is coming up. So the mind is what happening to the mind? Mind is reeling, forgetting him myself. Pramati eva cha me mana. Nimittani cha pashyami. So nimitta. So nimitta means cause, right? Or a motive or a reason. Nimitta matra. Become a nimitta. Reason, the cause. So nimittani cha pashyami. Or it can also mean the nimitta can also mean the mark, omen, or the sign. So here, the nimitta means not the reason, but the sign, omen. Here the nimitta means sign or omen. So he says that nimittani cha pashyami. I can see nimitta, the omen. What kind of viparitani? Viparita. Viparitani. So V means ulta. Viparita. From all sides together. And ta. So reversed, adverse, inauspicious. So viparitani cha pashyami. Nimittani cha pashyami. I see the reversals. Reverse sign. So due to his impatience, Arjuna was unable to stay on the battlefield and he was forgetting himself on the account of his weakness of heart. So these are all due to the weakness of heart. Excessive attachment for the material things put a man in such a bewildering condition of existence. Prabhupada is giving the reason. Why is this happening? Because of the excessive attachment for the material things puts a man in such a bewildering condition of existence. In a Shastra, there is a systematic progression of how the sphere comes. First is ignorance. Lack of knowledge. Ignorance of what? One's identity. Who we are exactly. We are spirit soul. Once that ignorance is come, that we are not the spirit soul, something, one identifies with something. That's the ignorance. With identification, person works upon that. Right? By working upon that, then person either enjoys or gets distaste. Either he gets a good taste or a pleasure or pain. When he gets a pleasure, he wants more. See, if you get a good, if you like some items, what do you want? More. That's the nature. You enjoy. And if we get a pain or a misery out of that, then what we do? Avoid. Dvesha. Right? Avoid it. And we want to have good memories, pleasure more and more, because that's the nature of the soul. Right? But instead of getting the pleasure from the soul, identifying oneself with the soul, person is identifying with the outside thing or the person. If that person gives me pleasure, I try to derive more pleasure. If that person gives me pain, I try to be away, shut that person out. And if I keep on getting more pleasure from that person or a thing, then what I would do? I become attached. Want more and more and then become attached. And if I become attached with the person whom I like or the things I like, other side is with the person whom I don't like or with the thing which I don't like, I want, what I do? I avoid at all costs. Right? With this, rag and dvesh comes what? Fear. With attachment and repulsion, what comes? Fear. Fear for what? Why fear comes? Losing. Losing what? What we enjoy. So here, what we enjoy generally in this world? Huh? Everything. So here we are talking about two things. Attachment to what? Person or things, right? We get attached to the people. We get attached to the things, right? Everything. But to specify, so once we get pleasure, yes, Maya, to share the experience. So when we get attached or we try to avoid, then comes fear. Fear of what? Losing those person or that things. Or the fear of this person coming, not being able to avoid the person whom we hate. Or the thing which we don't like coming to us. Right? The fear of that. Isn't it? Are you getting this?
Hare Krishna.
Yes.
Prabhuji, insecurity and fear both are different thing, or they are connected with the insecurity of losing something or fear of losing something? Both
No, insecure means person does not feel secured, stationed. Right? It's not feeling stability. Insecurity is to be do with the stability. And the fear comes from the sight of losing something. One is stability, one is losing. One does not feel satisfied. That is the insecurity. One feels a fear of losing. That comes the fear of missing. Right? So when one is not satisfied, when one is not having the knowledge that I am the spirit soul, my pleasure is dependent on my connection with the soul. My pleasure is not coming from the person with whom I am interacting. My actual pleasure will come from spirit soul, my identification with the spirit soul, my connection with the spirit soul. That's my real pleasure. From the person or the thing that's giving me the happiness right now, it's temporary. The moment I interact more, play around with the things more, I will get to see the bad side also of that person. Why? Because the things and the persons of these worlds have limitations. They are not perfect. Soul is perfect. Super soul is perfect. They are spiritual, therefore perfect. But the things and the people of this world are material. They are not perfect. So when we position our intention is to drag the pleasure always from the people, then when it is not met, then anger arises. Or the fear of losing it, missing that person or losing that thing, that arises. That gives rise to the fear. Insecurity, what will happen to me? Because my identity is in connection with this person. I am the husband of this person. I am the wife of this person. I am the father of this child, mother of this child. I am the head of this temple. I am the brahmachari of this temple. I am the counselor of these devotees. I am the president of this state. All these identification. Why? Because one is thinking based on this identification, I am my stability. My stability is based on that. मेरी पहचान ये है. But our real identification is we are the spirit soul. There is no any opposition to this. उसको कोई धोखा नहीं है. But all other positions are temporary. Right? Person can change anytime. Person breakups anytime. Things may fell down and mobile is gone. Costliest mobile. Right? So all these positions and the people are temporary. Changeable. They are fallible. Fallible soldiers. Krishna is infallible. Therefore, one name is Achyuta. Infallible. One who does not fall down from his position. His position is what? He is the Surud Sarva Bhutanam. He is the well-wisher of all the devotees. We are looking for such a well-wisher. Why? Because we are connected. We are part and parcel of such. We think that some soulmate, some dreammate, some in the moon, in the movie. So we are looking for that perfect person in somebody. And looking is there in our heart because we are the spirit soul. We are connected to Supreme Lord. So that lacking is there. You are always looking for. Nothing wrong in that. But placing that in somebody, reposing that in somebody, such a high responsibility you give it to some person. Oh, you are my soulmate. I have got you. My whole life is now successful. You have placed so much responsibility on that person that in that person who is not perfect, in fact, nobody is perfect in this world. When that person does something wrong, then gone. How can you do like this? See, people, they bang on the things. Yes, Lord.
What is that person is a devotee inspiring you?
If that person is a devotee and inspiring you, means divine inspiring us.
Then we cannot fear within that person.
Or that fear is a healthy fear. Because that is, we are losing the opposition, we are losing the association of that person. And that association, losing that association, that fear is spiritual fear. Because hankering is there. Soul means full of desires. Soul is full of desire. So the desire to get the association of like-minded people, devotees, is a desire, right? You are desiring. For what reason you are desiring? Why we desire the association of devotees? Because in the association of devotees, our bhakti flourishes. We get more closer to Krishna. So that is a healthy fear. But when we are associating with a person, or we are attached to a person for our sense gratification, and the fear of losing that person, what will happen? मेरा कौन होगा? मेरे लिए खाना कौन बनाएगा? मेरी इंद्रियों को तृप्ति कौन देगा? That is my senses. That is the not healthy fear. But the fear of losing this devotee, oh, such a nice devotee. He reminds me of Krishna. He gives me such a knowledge. Who will give? Even devotees, they cry in separation. But how do you know that this fear or this losing or this cry is spiritual? What that person does after losing that person. After losing that person. If that is material, then after losing that person, what he will do? Depressed, Atmatya, all these things. See, na? And what happens when the devotees loses? Their service continues. They lament for losing that person. Why? Because they are filled with heart. They are soft-hearted. They are not hard-hearted. कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता. तुम मर गए जाने दो. क्या फर्क पड़ रहा है? No. They cry. They are soft-hearted. But they continue their service. Their service does not stop. Because they know that this person will not be satisfied if I miss my service. So you see, Prabhupada was translating, Prabhupada was speaking, and the ecstasy came, and he controlled his ecstasy. You see, he curtailed that ecstasy. Why? Because that was coming on the service. He did not say that, all right, these all people are troublesome. I am in ecstasy with my remembrance of Krishna. These people, I have to speak to them. No. He curtailed his ecstasy, emotions, just to continue his service. The service should go on. And the heart is softened by such connections. Therefore, missing the devotees and that is spiritual. Okay, so न च शक्नोमि अवस्थातुं भ्रमत्येव च मे मनः निमित्तानि च पश्यामि विपरीतानि केशव. So Prabhupada mentions such fearfulness or loss of mental equilibrium takes place in the persons who are too affected by the material conditions. Arjuna envisioned only painful reversals in the battlefield. He would not be happy even by gaining victory over the foe. The words nimittani, viparitani are significant. When a man sees only frustrations in his expectations, he thinks, why am I here? Everyone is interested in himself and his own welfare. No one is interested in the Supreme Self. Arjuna is showing ignorance of his real self-interest by the Krishna's will. You see, Arjuna is showing ignorance of his real self-interest by Krishna's will. So originally Arjuna is transcendental. But Krishna puts him. So that is a Yoga Maya, not the Mahamaya. So we have to understand that is a Yoga Maya. Arjuna is a pure devotee. He cannot be bewildered. Krishna makes him bewildered. So which energy? Yoga Maya. Because that energy Krishna is placing, so he behaves in particular way. Krishna, that service he is doing. Like Shivji, he is bewildered by seeing Mohini Murti. Krishna bewilders him. Even ordinary person sees the form of the women, they are bewildered. So we say that Shivji and Brahmaji ran behind his daughter. Shivji got bewildered by the sight of the lady girl. And what to speak of you ordinary person? But there is a difference between the bewilderment of Shivji and ordinary person. Shivji is bewildered and his consciousness, when he comes to his senses, he said, Krishna, for you, I am bewildered. It's a great thing. Means you are so great that even a person like me can be bewildered. So what is wrong in that? He's saying, he's putting Krishna in the forward, saying that you are so great that you can even bewilder me. And to proclaim to the world, he took up that Leela. See, somebody has to become bad. Bad name somebody has to take, na? So let's say some lecture is going on for the newcomer and then devotee is sitting and speaker says, any questions? Nobody is asking anything. So then that new person, he says, okay, so Prabhuji, and that old devotee, he says, so Prabhuji, sometimes while chanting our mind goes here then there. So what should we do? Isn't it good that we should take nice rest and when our mind is totally controlled, we should chant? Because we see some people sleeping, still they chant. So it's better now that we should chant nice round. Less round, but nice round. He knows the answer. But still he's playing that role of a bad boy, no? Having that doubt. The doubts are already cleared, but he becomes like that. And sometimes Krishna puts that as a Yoga Maya Shakti. So that this person says like this. That's why Krishna Arjuna is showing ignorance of his real self-interest by Krishna's will. One's real self-interest lies in Vishnu. Very powerful point. One's real self-interest lies in Vishnu or Krishna. The conditioned soul forgets this and therefore suffers material pain. One's real self-interest lies in Vishnu or Krishna. The conditioned soul forgets this and therefore suffers material pain. That is avidya, ignorance. Right? One's connection as a spirit soul, part and parcel of Krishna. When that is forgotten, all other identification and then attachment and the fear of losing, all these stuff. So the root cause is one's real self-interest is Krishna. When one forgets that, so now Krishna will tell, how Arjuna will say that, oh, my own people, if I kill them, then what is the benefit I will get? So these are all built up in what? When one forgets his real identity. I am part and parcel of Krishna, I am a spirit soul. And that is forgotten, then other identity takes over. So Arjuna will now speak other identities. What is the, what are the faults on killing these people who are mine? All these external things he'll mention. Why? Because avidya. Root cause is avidya, not understanding who we are and our connection with Krishna. And the root cause. The conditioned soul forgets this and therefore suffers the material pang. Arjuna thought that his victory in the battle would only be the cause of lamentation. Nacha shreyo anupashyami hatva swajanamahave na kangshe vijayam Krishna nacha rajyam sukhani cha. Nacha shreya anupashyami. I do not see any shreya. Hatva swajanam ahave. Hatva, killing swajanam in this fight. Ahave. Na kangshe vijayam Krishna. मेरी कोई आकांक्षा नहीं है. I have no desire. Which desire? Na kangshe vijayam Krishna. Vijay for Rajya. I don't want victory. Means I don't want Rajya. I am not looking for Rajya. Na kangshe vijayam Krishna. Nacha rajyam sukhanicha. Not this kingdom. Or the sukh that comes with the kingdom. So now he's telling the reasons. Nacha shreyo anupashyami. I don't see any good coming out of this by killing our own kinsmen in the battlefield. Nor I, my dear Krishna, desire any subsequent victory, kingdom or happiness. Without knowing that one's self-interest is in Vishnu or Krishna, conditioned souls are attracted by the bodily relationships, hoping to be happy in such situation. So avidya, not knowing one's real self-interest or one's position, what happens? Conditioned souls are attracted by the bodily relationships, hoping to be happy in such conditions. Bodily or things, right? So the things here are Rajya, and relationships here are people like Bhishma and Tirtha. In such blind conception of life, they forget even the cause of material happiness. Arjuna appears to have forgotten the moral codes for the Kshatriya. So in such a blind conception, they forget even the cause of material happiness. In such kind of misrepresentation or identification leads even to the material loss. Because for material benefits also, one has to be focused. It has to be clear. But here, in such a blind conception of life, they forget even the cause of material happiness. Arjuna forget that his Kshatriya is supposed to fight. Arjuna appears to have forgotten the moral codes of Kshatriya. It is said that the two kinds of men, namely the Kshatriya who dies directly in the front of the battlefield under Krishna's personal order, and the person in the renounced order of life who is absolutely devoted to the spiritual culture, are eligible to enter the sun glow. Kshatriya dies in the battlefield and the sannyasis, they follow their sannyas ashram nicely. They go directly to the moon. Arjuna is reluctant even to kill his enemies, let alone his relatives. He thinks by killing his kinsmen, there would be no happiness in this life. And therefore, he is not willing to fight. Just as a person who does not feel hunger is not inclined to cook. He has now decided to go into the forest and live the secluded life in frustration. But as a Kshatriya, he requires a kingdom to fight for his subsistence. Because the Kshatriyas cannot engage themselves in any other occupation. See, Kshatriya, they need something. Kshatriya, the qualities of a Kshatriya is mentioned in the 18th chapter. Shauryam, Yuddhe, Achapalayanam. He never goes back from the king, from the fight. He's खून देख के उनको मजा आता है. Arjuna was attached to fighting, not to the result of the fighting. He was not attached to the kingdom. But he was attached to what? Fighting. He likes fighting. That is a Kshatriya. Brahmana, he will not. It's a Kare Bhavare, Durro. It's not to fight. There is nature. We have few brahmacharis in the ashram who are doctors, MBBS. And when they came, join the ashram, they are told, okay, take care of the devotees, some surgery or something. Oh, it's not their nature. And there is one brahmachari who's expert doctor. And when you tell him, Prabhu, aisa hua, हाँ, aisa na, it's because of this, hey, देखो ये किताब ऐसा है, he's into it. It's nature. So if one does as per their nature, materially will be happy. And spiritually, will he be happy? If he works as per his nature, huh? Working and between Krishna and center, then he will be happy. Materially, he'll be happy. But spiritually, when spiritually we say, then Krishna has to come into the picture. Anything that one does materially, if it does it for the pleasure of Krishna, right? So here he has forgotten his duty also. What to speak of spiritual thing? He's forgotten his duty as a Kshatriya, then he materially also he will not be happy, he will be frustrated. So what he will do? Going to the forest and begging. Huh? He will not win only. He's not getting the spirit to fight. Kshatriya means? But because that wrong conception has created and he has attachment. If one is attached, then one forgets one's own duty materially also. That leads to the material loss. Yes, sir.
This kind of situation where a person is pretending happy,
spiritually
not happy, on the understand just.
Yes. So material happy means a person performs pious deeds. Only by pious deed one gets material benefits, not otherwise. But these pious deeds are also coming from the Vedas. If you perform your duty nicely, serve your parents, donate, do charity, not harm others, these are all material good things. If somebody does that, return comes in bounds and heaps and bounds. Will get material happiness. But that is sukh and aram. But the soul is longing for that emotional outburst of spiritual emotions.
What is the symptom of that? The second part, what is the symptom that we can see?
We can see that a person
is happy.
Yeah, so materially is happy.
So what is the symptom when he's not happy?
He's not happy means he's still looking after something. But he's not achieved his goal. His material is, he'll keep on doing the things. You see the devotees who are connected. If they are satisfied, you ask Prabhupada, what do you want at the end of his life? He said, koi ichha nahi. But you give him, grant him life, he is doing, opening temples, preaching, translating, he's doing so many things. Without desire, can one do like this? There should be desire to do. Without desire, he's filled with desire. Which kind of desire? Please Krishna. Does all the things. And satisfied. If you ask him, do you need anything? So he knows Krishna is peace. He's doing everything for Krishna. He's ready to go. Krishna wants, let him take me. It's not a dash. Kya hoga? Kuch nahi. It's done. And the person who is materially happy, see his life. He's doing something. He's looking after something. He's looking for that happiness. He's working hard because he does not know what else to do. मैं करूँ क्या?
So such kind of a person who's materially happy, but still the intention is looking for some spiritual thing. But when
he does not even know that there is something spiritual. Let some spiritual thing will go on. He's just looking for something.
When you try to preach him, then still not interested.
He's not interested. Why? Because he does not feel the need.
But he's looking for something.
Soul means unless and until the soul is connected to the super soul, he keep on moving around in this world. He's just reaping the benefits of the pious deed he's doing. He did in the past. He's utilizing it. He's using it. He's spending it. What he invested, he's spending it. Time is separating when all things will be spent, and then miseries will come. Material miseries. Because money is there now. Health is there. Soon he will get disease. Soon he will become old. Then even if he spends a lot of money, old age will not go. Disease, if he gets horrible disease, it will not reverse. And then you see him in the dead end of the life. See, observe Dharmendra. How many crores he has in his crores of rupees, right? And all big shots in his connection. But his some video was leaked and people became so angry. Why? Because he was seen in such a miserable condition. Their family members were upset. Why you are showing him in such a miserable condition? Because that's what the situation was at the time of death. He had everything, but he was not happy.
You know what I understand from this situation is that materially people are and there's material consciousness. They are really happy that they doing the work properly. But they should be looking for spiritual, but they are not looking for spiritual.
Yeah, because they don't find any need. They're so adamant and to themselves. I don't need it. तुमको क्या मालूम है? मेरे को पूछ कितना है तुम्हारा प्रॉपर्टी? क्या आता है तुमको? तुम मेरे को सिखाता है? तुम्हारी औकात क्या है? तुम्हारी औकात क्या है मुझे बोलने की? ये करना चाहिए, वो करना चाहिए. See, means they know everything. Rich people, they don't listen with good advice unless you cut him in their competition. If somebody more rich than comes, then he will like. But if a poor person will tell him, yeah, तू मुझे क्या बताए? Why we sent IIT brahmacharis to IIT pass out brahmacharis to IIT colleges? Can't other preach? Right? But why we send? So that their ego, कि भाई कोई तो IIT वाला अपने स्टैंडर्ड वाला बैठेगा. So he will give you. Otherwise, यार, you are a normal person. तू मेरे को क्या सिखाएगा? That's not a good congenial platform to gain knowledge. Knowledge comes by surrender. Today evening, I'll be talking on that verse. Temple 735. Tad vidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya. Three things: pranipat, surrender; pariprashna, humble inquiry; service. For that, you need a platform to place that. But these rich people don't have that. Not everyone. Somebody who is intelligent will understand. No, he knows something which I don't know. But that power of money is so that nasha hota hai paise ka. That's why Krishna mentions in Bhagavatam, those who have money, beauty, power, influence, they don't come.
You can be stable. He should be looking for the spiritual thing, but he is not looking for.
Why he? Everybody should be looking, including him. Everybody should be looking. But such people are unfortunate. Such people are unfortunate to see. Therefore, having a lot of money is unfortunate. Therefore, Krishna, if somebody performs good devotional service for longer period and leaves his body, Krishna next life gives him birth in which family? Rich family? No. Family of a Brahmana. And Brahmana are cursed to be poor due to some reason. Why Krishna is giving birth? And somebody who performs little devotional service and gives the life. He is given birth in a multi-millionaire house. Little devotional service. He is given birth in a rich person. Why? Because money is there. You don't have to work. You are free to do whatever you want. But disadvantage is also there. That power of money. But a poor person is naturally, his hand is actually like this. Naturally humble. Does not mean that poor people will take off. They are also pride. They also have a proud of. They are proud of their penny. Beggar is proud of their penny. If you disrespect them, you see their anger. But they are already लात खा खा के उनकी आदत हो जाती है. So they are naturally humble. Poor people. You always find exceptions. Even in the rich, you find exceptions. Therefore, if a rich person and humble and a devotee, it's a Lord benediction of Krishna. Rich person taking to Krishna consciousness and humble. Very good combination. Because poor person taking it's okay. कुछ नहीं, तो कोई भक्ति दे रहा है, प्रसाद खिला रहा है, धन्य है. and takes to Krishna consciousness. It's good. But once the money comes, then what he will do? Always a chance. Krishna will test, na? He will give money, he will give honey, he will give everything, fame. Krishna will give all this to a devotee who takes to Krishna consciousness sincerely. He will not leave, he will test. What do you want? He checks whether you want this. He never thought that I want. Like a poor person who is khana, two ends not meeting, and if he gets assured in the devotee circle, to khana sab mil jayega, then when his stomach, his belly is full, then what? खाना खाने के बाद फिर थोड़ा पान, सुपारी और senses, इंद्रिय को थोड़ा drinks and all this thing comes. Senses, sense gratification. Next, when the body is satisfied with food, then senses को थोड़ा मजा देंगे. That comes. That is the test. Krishna will test. One sincerely takes, he provides money like anything. He provides opposite party like anything. He provides everything just to check. He's still wanting me or not. Because it's not easy. Krishna has to give himself. So he will test. And one who is convinced of this world, nothing will help. Only Krishna. With that, like a small child whose mother comes from the kitchen and gives everything, ye khilona, wo khilona. And child takes and happy, then mother is also happy, child is also happy. All these toys are like this, things of this world. But if a mother sees, child is crying, does not want, he wants me only, then Krishna will give himself. Otherwise, so you see, here he's telling, Kim no Rajya no Govinda. What? But Neya Shreva no Pasyami Hatva Sajanam na Kangshe Vijayam Krishna na Rajya Sukhani. I don't want this so. What big thing in this? There are people who does not want that. That's okay. Kim no Rajya no Govinda. Kim bhoge jivite nama. Kim no Rajya. What is Rajya? Kim bhoge, all this. Yesham arshe Kangshitam no. But now he wants something higher with whom he wants to enjoy. He's interested in relationships now. You see, the person has so many things, but no family, good relation in a home. A rich person alone, all went away. For him, if life is like Anil Agrawalji, young son died. What is the money? Better than, there is people who are on the road filled with families. Bacha, wife, pati. That support is there. This person feels empty. Means what? How much he will eat? Sandwich, how much it cost? A crorepati eating sandwich and a lakpati eating sandwich, how much sandwich will cost? What all you will put, it is same. After one amount, increase in amount does not matter. After you don't have to think of anything to eat, you gain that much crores of rupees, then you add any crore, it does not matter. It does not matter. When you lose the people with whom you enjoy, that matters.
No, I saw a video.
Yeah.
Where the son died, both the parents are there, and people have to pay their respects. They would look very stable.
Yes.
Very, very calm and composed. But if you see some other people, they not have that much money, they look very shattered and broken, when they lost everything. These people, they look very calm, composed, as if, nothing has happened.
Because he spends time with the devotees. He has spent time, he has sung so much kirtan, so much holy name, he invited devotees. So many times we had been to his home.
He goes every day. He does long. He looks
So that knowledge, temporary, that emptiness is there. Naturally, because sun is no more. But then he understands that's spirituality. He has spent time. You know what? So now, Here, Kimno Rajyena Govinda. So Govinda means one who gives Anand to the senses. Right? So Arjuna is telling Govinda is the one who gives Anand to the senses. But the Govinda is not meant for satisfying all senses. Prabhupada is telling. If we try to satisfy the senses of Govindas, however, then automatically your senses will be satisfied. Materially, everybody wants to satisfy senses and he wants God to be order supplier for such satisfaction. The Lord will satisfy the senses of living entities as much as they deserve, but not to the extent that they may covet. But when one takes the opposite way, namely, when one tries to satisfy the senses of Govinda without desiring to satisfy one's own senses, then by the grace of Govinda, all the desires of the living entity are satisfied. Papamevashrayedasman hatpaitamnatatayina tasmat naharavayam hantum dhatarashram svabandhavan swajanamikatam hatva sukina shyama madhava. Papam evashrayedasman. So another reason for not fighting. Papam, sins. Papam evashred asman atvaita natatayina. So atatayi means aggressors. There are 6 kinds of aggressors Prabhupada mentions in this verse. First is one who gives poison. Second, one who sets fire to the house. Third, one who attacks with deadly weapons. Fourth, one who plunders riches. Fifth, one who occupies others' land. And the sixth, one who kidnaps a wife. Kaurava did everything, all these 6 things to the Pandavas. They gave poison to Bhima and then put him in the fire, in the water, right? In the picnic, they took him, and then Duryodhana gave poison. And Bhim went inside, and he went to that loka of Naga. And there, when he went, all the Nagas beat him. Who has this come? They beat him. The poison and again poison, anti-poison. All the poison gone. See that effect. And he came out more powerful. When the king of that Naga planet that came and said, oh, he's the son of so and so. Why you brought? They asked forgiveness and gave him such a elixir by which he will get a power so much. It came out more powerful. 100 of elephants. 100 of elephants. See? So point is, poison was given. Sets the fire on the house. That Lakshagra. Then one who attacks with deadly weapons. They attack him with the deadly weapons. One who plunders riches in that game. And then one who occupies another's land. Not an inch of land he will give. One who kidnaps his wife, Draupadi. They tried to naked her. So all these things, as per the scripture, if somebody are aggressors, they can be killed. But here he is saying that even if they are aggressors, they are not normal aggressors. They are all relatives. This kind of... So such killing of aggressor is quite befitting any ordinary man. But Arjuna was not an ordinary person. He was saintly by character and therefore he wanted to deal with them in a saintliness. This kind of saintliness, however, is not for a Kshatriya. Although a responsible man in the administration of the state is required to be saintly, he should not be cowardly. For example, Lord Ram was so saintly that people even now are anxious to live in the kingdom of Ram Rajya. But Lord Ram never showed any cowardice. One quality of a leader is he should be, Bhagavad Gita says that he should not be fearful of anybody, nor anybody should be fearing him. He should not be fear of anybody. He should be fearless. But somebody is fearless, others may be fearful of him. But the second quality is nobody should be fearful of him. That means he should be gentle. Fearless and gentle. Such a contrasting characteristics are mentioned. Who can have such? See, that is the quality of leader. So here, this saintliness, this quality of Arjuna being saintly is mentioned over here. But however, for a Kshatriya, Responsible. He should be responsible. He should be saintly, but he should not be all types. See? In Arjuna's case, however, one should consider the special type of aggressors, namely his own grandfathers, own teacher, friends, sons, grandsons. Because of them, Arjuna thought that he should not take the severe steps necessary against ordinary aggressors. Besides that, saintly persons are advised to forgive. Such injunctions for saintly persons are more important than any political emergencies. So there is Dharma Shastra and there is Artha Shastra. Artha Shastra says that do this, do that, kill this, your enemy and all. But Dharma Shastra says do not. So then Arjuna is placing more things to the Artha Shastra, to the Dharma Shastra, not to the Artha Shastra. Right? Arjuna considered that rather than kill his own kinsmen for the political reason, it would be better to forgive them on the guides of the religion and the saintly behavior. That is Dharma Shastra. He did not therefore consider such killing profitable simply for the matter of temporary bodily happiness. After all, kingdoms and pleasure derived therefrom are not permanent. So why should one risk the life and eternal salvation by killing his own kinsmen? Somebody may ask this question. Arjuna's addressing of Krishna as Madhava or the husband of goddess of fortune is also significant in this connection. He wanted to point out to Krishna that as the husband of goddess of fortune, he should not induce Arjuna to take up a matter which would ultimately bring about misfortune. Krishna, however, never brings misfortune to anyone, to say nothing of his devotees. That's the significance of the word Madhava. यद्यपि न पश्यति लोप उपहत चेतसा कुलक्षय कृतं दोषं मित्र दोहे च पातकं कथं न ज्ञेयम् अस्माभिः पापदस्मान् निवर्तितुं कुलक्षय कृतं दोषं प्रपश्यात् जनार्दनः. Now, यदि अपि एते न पश्यन्ति, even if they are not able to see the wrong things that are happening, Lobha upata chetasa, because of their heart is filled with the lobha, greediness. Kulakshay kritam dosham, the fault of the kula, all the dynasty being destroyed by this. Mitra dohecha patakam, and also the friends. Katham na geyam asmabi, but how can we, who are knowledgeable about this, what are the faults whom we know? Papa dasma nivartitum, that papa will come. Kulakshay kritam dosham, all this dosha. Prapashyadvir janardana. Why should we do? If they are not able to see, but we are able to see, why should we do this? He's asking. Kulakshay pranashyanti kula dharma sanatana dharme naste kulam Krishna adharmo abhibhavatyuta. Kulakshay pranashyanti. So in destroying the family, mostly men are there. In the war, they will be destroyed. So, kulakshay pranashyati kula dharma sanatana. So when the kula is destroyed, then kula dharma, the family traditions which are mentioned, because these are the elderly who perform such family traditions and who help them to perform. They guide. They will be gone. So kula dharma sanatana dharme naste kula krishnam adharma bhi bhavatyuta. And when these dharma are lost, then what happens? The remaining people get into a dharma. That is what is mentioned. What happens when the people get into a dharma? Adharma abhibhavat Krishna pradushyanti kulastriya strishu drushta tu vashneya jayate varashankara. When the adharma prevails, then what happens? The ladies, they get adulterated. The men, they entice the ladies. And the ladies by nature, they are so innocent. They can easily be dragged away. And because of that, the praja that will come will not be healthy, will not be nice. So that's why Prabhupada here mentions the Varnashram religion's principles are so designed that a good population would prevail in the society for general spiritual progress of the state and community. That population depends on the chastity and the faithfulness of which women would. As children are very prone to mislead, women are similarly very prone to degradation. Therefore, both children and women require protection by the elderly members of the family by being engaged in the various religious practices. Women will not be misled into adultery. See, when the free mixing happens, right, generally there is adultery. Otherwise, when there was no free mixing earlier, there will not be such cases. According to the Chanak, okay, so the different family traditions of the religious activities, one time one woman told that why do you think that women are to be protected? Can't they protect themselves? Why you people in Indian speak so much about protecting or not letting the women given the freedom and all? One feminist was telling. So this person, and they said that, for us, in our culture, women are given, are valued a lot. Women are like diamonds. What do you think about the diamonds? Do you put diamonds out of the road anywhere? No, you protect them. So in our tradition, women are protected. So that's how engage them, and thus their chastity and devotion will give birth to the good population eligible for participating in the Varnashram system. On the failure of such Varnashram dharma, naturally the women become free to act and mix with the men, and thus adultery is indulged in at the risk of unwanted population. Irresponsible men also provoke adultery in the society, and thus unwanted children flood the human race at the risk of the war and pestilence. So you see, it's not only the women, they get enticed easily, but also the irresponsible men. Not all men are irresponsible. There may be some genuine men who want to take the responsibility and get married. But then there are irresponsible men who provoke the adultery in the society. Therefore, who can be the better guide than father and mother? Can anyone be better guide to a girl or a boy or to a child than father and mother? Therefore, in our society, adhering to what parents says is given high weightage. Is given high weightage. Because they know our behavior, they know us. They can see, they have seen the ages. They can guide well. But now
What if parents are irresponsible?
Parents are responsible, then one has to understand the situation, because it's not always that parents are responsible only. There are some family members who are like fighting amongst themselves. In the front of children, they are fighting. They don't understand that in front of children, they should not fight. So in that sense, people has given intelligence. Ultimately, even if we agree to the parents, right, we have free will. Tomorrow, if the match does not go well, will we curse our parents? We have to understand. Ultimately, the karma is the thing. Somehow it will come. If not by the parents, somebody else. If not somebody else, we would only select such person who is supposed to come in our life. So we always have to go down to our parents, even though they are irresponsible. We have to show respect. Does not mean that we have to accept everything that they say, knowing that they are irresponsible. But at least respect we should give. Elders are to be respected, right? I'm not saying to agree whatever they say, because we have to understand what is good for us. Because if we accept whatever they say and they are irresponsible, then we'll have to take the reaction of what we do, hearing them. Yeah, Shastra says take the advice of a person who is knowledgeable. तद्विधि प्रणिपातेन परिप्रक्षेण सेवया उपदक्षन्ति ते ज्ञानम ज्ञानिना तत्वदर्शिना. Tattvadarshi. One should take shelter of Tattvadarshi. But elderly people has to be respected. Make sense? शंकरो नरकायैव कुलज्ञानां कुलस्य च पतन्ति पितरो येषां लुप्तपिण्डोदकक्रिया. शंकरो नरकायैव. In increase of unwanted population certainly causes hellish life, both for the family and those who destroy the family traditions. The ancestors of such corrupt families fall down because the performance of the offerings Then food and the water are entirely stopped. So our forefathers has to be given what? A function is there now when we offer remnants, offering to Vishnu, and then remnants are given to them. Shradha, right? But if the people are not aware of this, something has to be done. Because therefore the fathers are not there. Their father will fall down, they will also fall down. So therefore, then dosher ete kula gnana varna shankara karake utsyadante jati dharma kula dharma sana sa shashwatah. By the evil deeds of those who destroy the family traditions and thus give rise to the unwanted children, all kinds of community, that is the caste projects and the family welfare activities are devastated. So jati dharma here means caste traditions. All that will be gone. Then what happens? Utsan kula dharmana manusyanam janardana narake niyata vaso bhavati anushkrishma. Hare Krishna. Yes. Mataji, you have a question? No. Utsan kula dharmana manusyanam janardana narake niyatam vaso bhavati iti anushrushruma. So kula dharmana, utsan kula dharmana, so spoiled kula dharma. So kula dharma in this phrase means jati dharma and the ashram dharma. So, O Krishna, mentor of people, I have heard by the disciplic succession, bhavati anushrushruma, means he is quoting now that I have heard this. That is, Arjuna is quoting somebody. And he's saying, I have heard by disciplic succession that those whose family traditions are destroyed dwell always in the hell. So that is the system of varnashrama one has to follow. And in that varnashrama, before with that, there is something known as prayaschitta. One has to follow that. But all this will be lost. And then Krishna, Arjuna is telling for the sins of something which has not even performed now. Something is the sin he is going to perform, but sin that he has not performed, for that he is lamenting. He is telling, Aho bata mahat papam kartum vyavasida vayam yad rajya sukha lobena hantum swadanam Pudhyata. Alas, how strange it is that we are preparing to commit great sinful acts, driven by the desire to real and royal enjoyment. We are intent on killing our own kinsmen. He is lamenting for that. Driven by the selfish motive, one may be inclined to such sinful acts of as killing of one's own brother, father, and mother. There are many such instances in the history of the world, but Arjuna, being a saintly devotee of the Lord, is always conscious of the moral principles and therefore takes care to avoid such activities. And now he says, after analyzing all these things, he says, Yadi mam apratikaram ashastram shastrapanayah dhatarashtan rane hanyus tanme shemataram bhave. Yadi, if mam apratikaram, without revolting, without defending, ashastram, without any shastra, shastrapanaya, with somebody who is holding, dhatarashtam rane hanyus, these people, they kill me in this war. Tanme shemataram bhave. That I consider to be better. Because if somebody is unwilling, then the law says that one should not attack. If one is unwilling to fight, then one should not attack. So that is the custom. According to Kshatriya fighting principles, that an unarmed, unwilling foe should not be attacked. Arjuna, however, decided that even if attacked by the enemy in such an awkward position, he would not fight. He would not resist, show any opposition. He did not consider how much other party was bent upon fighting. All these symptoms are due to the soft-heartedness resulting from his being a devotee of the Lord. Such symptoms, which shows the soft-heartedness, is this. He's saying that even if they are with me not having the Shastra and they with the Shastra, they kill me, I will not reward. And then Kripaya Paravisto, previously we saw, this is all showing what? Soft-heartedness. And what is showing that this such kind of compassion is a material compassion? Symptoms of the body. His body is quivering and his mind is reeling, his intelligence, right? So all those are showing misplaced compassion. And which are the things which are showing Arjuna as a devotee of a Lord or as a soft-heartedness. These are the words. This is clear. And then finally Arjuna says, Sanjay Uvacha, Evam Uktva Arjuna Sankhe Rathopatta
Prabhuji,
Upa. Yes, Prabhu.
Prabhuji, a question है.
Yes,
So,
please.
he before getting into the battlefield, Arjuna knew that whom he is going to fight in the battlefield. So, how did or what was the difference between he standing in front of the battlefield? I'm trying to understand his mindset, and compared to before getting into the battlefield, also he knew that this is what he's going to do. So why his mind is now different? Why he started thinking it this way when he sees everybody? But it was obvious, right? He's facing his own kinsman.
Yeah. See, whenever the war is declared, person thinks that this party has so many people, so much resources, right? But then, how is the spirit of these people? Like all these people were assembled. He know that who are on his side, others were on the other side. But when he sees the people in the front and their fighting spirit, the eagerness, he can gaze how bent they are in supporting the Dhritarashtra's son. Just like now, the war is going on. So the Trump thought that these people would have this many flights, they will attack these people, they will attack this. But they started attacking all the countries where these bases are there, and they also stopped the movement of that the passage, not allowing, so disrupting all the economy, the chain system. So they did not analyze that this would happen. But now they are understanding that this is all things are going to happen. When they started the war, they assumed that these people will bend down. If we do, if it is their arm, this much thing will happen. But when they really got into it, then all the mess they are seeing. Similarly, Arjuna, he knew that there are other people who are supporting him. But when they are standing with that position and the enthusiasm and that, by seeing that, he can analyze that how bent they are. You know, here the shloka mentions when he says the reason for why he stand, why he has to take Yotsamanan aveksheham ye ete atra samagataha. Yotsamanan, those who are willing to fight, aveksheham, let me see, ye ete atra samagata, Dhatarashtra durbuddher yuddha priye chikashava. He wants to see.
Yes, Prabhu.